We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, but today doesn't feel that way. We are divided in more ways than one, and the media and the powers that be all have their own agenda. The people of this great nation no longer care about the truth, they only care about the side they are on. At Poor 360, I am trying to change that. We're bringing you the facts and history so we can all learn something and make our own decisions. Tune in every Tuesday to be a part of that journey. The following
is a journey into comics.
Journey into comics.
It's a journey into comics.
It's a journey into comics.
Journey into comics.
Journey into comics.
Network.
Production.
And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics, the podcast dedicated to all things nerd, with your host, the podfather himself, Nate Phillips. Showtime, a-holes.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 237 of Journey into Comics. I am not your host, Nate. In fact, I am your host this week, Veronica from Foodies Watching Movies podcast. Joining me today, Miss Sara Van Lanningham, also from Foodies Watching Movies. How's it going?
That's me.
It's us. Me. It's us. We're here. We're on JIC.
Yeah, and it's the first time that we've had just the both of us together.
I know.
Nobody. It's like a looking at the table and there's like scattered chairs and
I know it's just the two of us sitting here.
Yeah, we just time traveled right now because we did an episode before this just now of Foodies Watching Movies.
And that one's not going to air for like another 2 weeks?
We don't know. We don't do the schedule.
Yeah, that one's off to the wind. That is reserved for the podfather, Nate.
I don't say that word.
Well, Nate is not here with us today on Journey into Comics because it is April Fool's Week here at our Journey into Comics network.
Yeah.
And all of our different shows have decided to have different hosts for this week for something fun to do, switch it up and whatnot. And usually we are hosting Foodies, and we also do a show called GallifRadio that's in its off season right now. And we got picked to do JIC.
Yeah, that's I feel like I'm talking to an audience. I'm having a panel. Do you know what I'm having strong memories of right now?
No.
Sweaty balls.
Well, you've got the headphones on.
That's what's killing me.
You got the big mic.
I don't ever wear the headphones, y'all. I don't wear the headphones in this family, okay?
The only thing that's missing is the pop filter. That would have completed
the giant,
look.
Oh, I wish I had one now.
I know.
But,
well.
Yeah, just this NPR style
Very
talking.
NPR.
Yeah.
We can practice our classical music voices.
Yeah. You know how soothing that is. Soothing radio.
Listen to the soothing tones of my voice.
Right. I do listen to a lot of shout out to WFMT Chicago.
Yeah, Candace. Candace has a great voice.
Candace agree, yes.
She's got a great voice for radio.
Yeah. I like that radio station a lot. But we can't talk about that. We're supposed to talk about comic stuff.
Yeah. Like you said, this is our first time doing a podcast solo cast style, just you and I. Usually we've got some other people or, Nate, because he's on our other shows as well. But I am really excited to do a podcast with you because, we typically tend to agree on a lot of the same things. And we typically tend to have strong opinions about the same things, which is why we're such great friends.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to talk about today. I think we should just jump right into it, yeah?
Okay, do you have notes and stuff?
I do. I have an agenda because I like to write things down.
Yeah, we're fans of lists.
Yeah, I like lists.
Yeah.
So the first thing on the agenda we wanted to talk about, recently we just saw Captain Marvel, starring Brie Larson.
Yeah, we did see that movie. That was a good one. On the second watch, it was better.
Was it? I didn't get to see it a second time. I only saw it the one time.
Well, we took Cody.
I know.
We took our friend.
I heard.
See it.
Yeah, I heard.
It was a Wednesday.
Whatever. I'm over it. I've made my peace with it.
Well,
no, but it will
be on rewatch on loop in this house at some point.
Believe me, I'm not worried about it.
But yeah, the second time, because the first time I felt good about it. We talked about this on Foodies watching movies. Like, I'm supposed to plug things like that, right?
I know. We've been listening to Nate do podcasting for a really long time. That shit just gets in there.
Oh, I won't talk about how it was my idea.
Yeah, we don't.
We're alone now. I can talk about that. Oh, ooh.
Hey, this is Journey into Comics, the first show on this.
The April Fool's thing was my idea. Mm-hmm. That was my Fool's Week. Sorry if everybody hates it.
That's why you're a producer on our network. You and I are the producers because we like to think of the ideas. We just don't necessarily like to do them.
I'm good at like catching the ideas, like David Lynch says. You catch the ideas while they're there. Yeah, but I'm good at catching them while they're out in the ether, and then not so good at implementing them. I have ADD. It's straight up.
Well, that's why you're an ideas man. That's why you work well in the network as a producer, because you've always got valuable behind the scenes input and ideas, and I know everybody appreciates the work you do.
I hope it's valuable.
I think it's valuable.
It's just the thing.
I think your opinions on our upcoming topic are pretty valuable.
Oh, what are we doing first?
Well, we had just talked about how we were watching Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah, Captain Marvel. Oh, that was what we were talking about, Captain Marvel.
I saw a really hilarious meme that was floating around Facebook, and it was talking about how, Brie Larson was Captain Marvel, and it was talking about the real hero. The real hero in our story, the real hero's tale, is about Scott Pilgrim. And Scott Pilgrim dated Captain Marvel. Yeah. He fought fucking Superman, Brandon Routh or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Scott Pilgrim also fought Captain America.
Okay.
And there was like 4 little quadrants I saw in this little meme that were hilarious, and I can't think of it. But I don't remember. Yeah, it was just talking about how like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is all tied together to Scott Pilgrim. And we're like, yeah, Scott Pilgrim, he's the real MVP, man.
Right. But I always have to go back to the music because you and I talked about this. Because everybody has,
let's talk about this.
Even like the directors and stuff. From what I hear, I don't read all of these things, okay? But from what I hear, they weren't happy with the Just a Girl playing.
They weren't?
They weren't.
We weren't.
No, they said they tried a lot. I feel like I heard this somewhere. I don't remember if I read it or somebody told me. But that they tried a lot of different songs in that spot, a lot of different 90s. And it just, nothing was fitting. And that's just where it ended up, was on that song. And
that sucks, because that was the one complaint about the soundtrack you and I had after we saw Captain Marvel. It was like, did they really need to drive it home with, No Doubt singing I'm Just a Girl during the big fight scene at the end?
Yeah, I don't want to get too, I talked about that already on the radio.
We talked about that on Foodies.
Yeah, we had talked about, though, that it would have been a funny Easter egg if they would have done that song from Scott Pilgrim,
Black Sheep
by
Metric.
That's what I was trying to think. That Metric song.
That would have been the perfect fucking scene.
I know, that would have been great fan service for people like us. But people like us like really offbeat things. You'll learn today.
Yes,
because I will go down memory lane, my journey through and into comics, I suppose.
That's a great way to put it, Sarah. Yeah. We decided we were going to go down memory lane today and talk about the stuff that we like because
we're girls.
Well, because these things don't typically get talked about on this show.
Right.
I mean, girls. We can only go so far with the superhero comic books before, you have to pay some service to the independent comics and to the artsy ones and to the Japanese ones. There's a whole fucking world out there that people can learn from.
Yeah, and not only that, I do have a handful we'll get to this later. I do have some superhero comics that I have in my lot.
You got some cool ones.
Yeah.
That Daredevil one was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But, yeah, and did you say anime Asian or something?
The Japanese, graphic novels,
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made me think
I love
Scott
anime.
Pilgrim again.
Yeah, everything comes back to Scott Pilgrim, the real hero. The hero's journey. I don't know. Scott Pilgrim was kind of an a-hole if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like what he did to Knives was pretty shitty. He was pretty immature.
We've learned, especially on Foodies, going through a lot of movies we've liked to see if they've aged well.
Yeah, that's fun.
That generally movies from the 90s were about scumbag people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them, you watch them now and you're like, oh my God. Like I can't believe that... I don't want to start talking about this. I don't want to go down this road with movies, but Scott Pilgrim was kind of a scumbag sometimes.
Yeah,
I guess we all were in our 20s, early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in your early 20s now and you're listening, you're probably a scumbag. Just so you know, you'll find out in about 10 years, 15 maybe, 20 for some of y'all. I don't know.
Well,
maybe we're all still scumbags.
Works out for you guys.
All right, what's next?
Well,
where are we going?
Do you want to start talking about what you brought to the table here?
Yeah,
where
we
do you
can
want to
talk
start
about that. Well, I guess if we're gonna talk, if I don't have to just start talking about comics. A lot of my picks, I grabbed just a stack of graphic novels that I have here because generally I used to buy comics because I have comics are a luxury item that I have not bought in many years just because they're a luxury item. You see, well, we won't go down that road. But graphic novels I used to buy when I really liked something, because you don't want to thumb through the original, the little books,
right?
Without, I don't like doing that. It's like whatever. Turn the page, wash your hands. Turn the page, wash your hands.
Can I tell you the first big graphic novel book I got?
Yeah.
You're gonna laugh. Okay. So I was in elementary school, and the very first graphic novel book that I got was the Batman movies. Ooh. That were turned into a graphic novel.
That's great. That's such an early 90s thing.
It was really great. I still have it, and I'll find it, and I'll take a picture of it and post it for JIC. The artwork of, Jim Carrey and, Uma Thurman and, Arnold as the Mr. Freeze or whatever. Man. It's hilarious.
That's funny.
It's the best. I can't wait to show it to you.
I can't remember what graphic novel I got first. It's very hard to remember. I lost a decent portion of my comics and graphic novels to a flood in 2006. So
what a bummer.
Yeah, some things I rebought, but you can't
Was there anything totally irreplaceable that you don't have?
Well, in the comic world, I guess nothing. I don't know. I mean, some things with signatures and a slew of just sentimental things that I wouldn't think to replace unless I randomly found them in the world.
Right. I see.
And then even then, sometimes you'll be thumbing through things and it's just like, I don't know why that's familiar, and you've lost the connection to it already. Right. It's one of those sentimental things. That's the kind of stuff you lose in floods and fires and things that are frustrating,
right.
After a while. My records fell to the same fate. I've since rebuilt a lot of that. But, when it comes to first pressings of things and all of that, or first editions and all that, it's that's also, again, luxury item,
Right.
But a lot of the things that I like are just because I like them, because I like to read them.
They have meaning to you.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you get people in the comic book world, I noticed, and that they're just in it for the covers, or the cool art, or maybe these days just the movies, not so much back when I was a kid because the movies were different.
Right.
They not like how it is now with the comic book and the MCU and all of that, all the movies now. But
and then you have people who are into it just for the collecting aspect and the
right.
investment aspect of making it a project to make money in the future, following trends on what's going to be popular, what movies are coming out, to buy the corresponding comic books, all those things.
Yeah, and then you have the classic scalpers that are just there looking for, you got this, you got the Spider-Man number 3, with they know 10 top 10 comics or whatever, and they're going
right.
on. Ooh, you get those, all kinds, but I was always in it just because of things that I liked to read that were weird, because I was weird, and my And my dad, and he and I and my brother, occasionally my sister, she was younger, she was the youngest, so she got into it less than we did. But me and my brother and my dad used to go out a lot to comic shops when I was all growing up. We used to do that.
That's cool.
We'd go there and we'd go to arcades. Like I've mentioned before, I think on various podcasts, whatever. I don't want to get into that. That'll be another discussion some other time. But me and my dad, let's see, what did we collect back then? I have a whole collection of Beavis and Butthead comics.
Oh, sweet.
From the 90s. I have a whole collection of first pressings of Ren and Stimpy comics.
Ooh,
okay, and like
cool.
Nickelodeon comics, those kind of things.
Interesting.
That type of early 90s kid stuff, I would buy that all the time.
Totally.
You know, off the kid shelf.
I was a huge like Nickelodeon mark.
Yeah, and then that led me into later on, mid-90s when I started in middle school. You know, I was still going, but I'd get to go with my friends then to the comic shops, sometimes with other people, you know. Mm-hmm. So I'd start to look for things that weren't like superheroes. It was a lot of superhero stuff in the early 90s and a lot of crap.
I remember a lot of X-Men in the 90s.
Oh, yeah. I've got some... I loved the X-Men.
I loved X-Men.
I loved Jean Grey. You know I did.
Jean Grey, man. The Dark Phoenix saga was like my favorite storyline. I've talked about it on JIC before.
That's a good one.
I'm excited about the upcoming Phoenix movie. I don't know why. Probably because, you know, the Dark Phoenix thing was my jam back then. But I don't know. I feel like Sophie Turner is going to be good. But I feel like critics are not going to like that movie.
Yeah. I don't know. MCU that's a different set of criteria I judge it on anyways. Right. I can't judge it on the nostalgia, because the nostalgia for me, actually a lot of it, along with for superheroes anyways, I knew like the basic stories of them and they were like, okay. But for me, we had all of these card collections. I had an X that I've mentioned a number of times, but it got stolen from me years ago. My childhood card collection disappeared one day.
Damn.
I've lost a lot of things like that from my childhood, but I had these giant, like what you used to collect baseball cards, like those big cushy binders with all of the pages in them. And I mean, I had two or three full ones, at least two and a half. And it was all like Marvel X-Men sets with all the special cards and the lenticular cards and sticker cards and, you know, all of that. We would go out hunting for that stuff with my dad all the time, days before the internet. Yeah. So you could go and you'd have to order things. My favorite thing from actually like probably the 80s was those sticker books that they used to have, that you'd buy packs of stickers that had numbers on them and they'd create like a picture, those just like square sticker packs.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still make those. Probably not. But I remember I had one that was Popples. Do you remember Popples from the 80s? Those toys. They had like, you're a little younger than me.
Let me look it up.
They remade them. They were these little like creatures, little stuffed animals that would like pop inside of themselves. They had like little pouches.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I
and
remember
the pouch
that.
would go, yeah. But I loved those.
What did you call them?
Popples.
Popples, okay.
Yeah. They had this stupid sticker book, and that was the first thing I ever completed the collection of. Yeah, those things.
Yep, I remember. I'm terrible with names, but I remember.
Yeah, that was the first thing I ever like completed the collection. I was Ollie's age. I was like 4 or 5. This would have been like the late 80s.
That's sweet.
And we had to mail. The reason I remember this is you had to send in at the end. You had the self-addressed stamp envelope thing. You had to send in, and you would send in a little piece of paper that you would write down what numbers you were missing if you couldn't find them. And there was like a charge. It was like, you know,
that's crazy.
You had to send them a little bit of money for each one or something, and they would send you a letter back with all of the ones you were missing for your book.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I remember like just waiting in the mail for like a week, you know, when I was a
wasn't
kid.
It so fun getting mail as a kid? Because it was always like Highlights magazine or you know, really cool shit. Or remember like the Sears big book around Christmas time toy catalog.
Oh,
was it the Toys R Us one?
Yeah, when you'd circle stuff in the magazine.
Yeah, circle.
Oh man, that was a ritual, man. And they were thick. They were like huge.
And back in like the 80s and early 90s, like we had the good toys. We had the real good toys.
Yeah, I love looking at the memes with the old toy catalogs and stuff.
Yeah.
And they had old pajamas and things like.
Yeah.
I used to wear like Ninja Turtles and stuff. Yeah. Anyways, I'll get into my stack now. So I like weird stuff. I like to read them. I'm in it for that, not just looking at stuff. So
you're in it for the substance.
I got into like goth comics when I was in middle school. You
no
know?
way.
That was the 90s thing. And you know what? I don't care. You can try to ignore it. You can say it's stupid. Like, I remember that. I'm glad it's gone. Like, 90s little, like, offshoot goth comics, that was a thing. All right? They were everywhere. These weird little... And it was like, before Hot Topic happened, okay? It was before then. They sold them at Hot Topic. You know, but they sold like edition 13, you know.
But like you could get them at places like Hollywood Mirror in Chicago.
Yeah, they were a little harder to find. They'd be bottom shelf, or the comic retailer, your standard Simpsons comic book guy. That was usually who you ran into at your local shop. And he'd be like, "Oh, what do you want? Johnny the Homicidal Maniac? I don't know what that is." You know, like they don't know what that is. They just like shuffle you off to like the like lower section of something. I don't know, you know, stupid. I guess they call it, I'm going to grind my foot into the ground right now. They call it hipster stuff now. But like, it's true. I did like the stuff back then that other people just were, I don't know. Not everybody was into it. I mean, I had a few friends that were into it, but that's just whatever. So, yeah, some of the ones I liked of the goth comics, I have Lenore here, if anybody remembers Roman Dirge's Lenore. I'm going to show Veronica these, as she doesn't know some of them.
Yeah, show me.
I mentioned Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, but I lost that one in the flood. That was, man, I didn't have a first edition. I had maybe 2 or 3. It was early on because I was obsessed with it. This is Lenore. Look at Lenore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is...
Noogies.
Yeah, Noogies. This is a adorable goth comic from the 90s.
It's very goth.
It's story time.
Very black.
You can flip through it. Go ahead. You don't have to read anything, of course.
Okay.
But it's always fun when you have a trip down memory lane to just hand people stuff, you know.
It says, "Greetings, kiddos."
Yeah, it's an adorable little, it's sweet. It's a sweet little goth comic.
Yeah, this is the updated full color version of the original first 4 Lenore issues.
Yeah, I lost those in a flood, too.
But this is like the collection.
Yeah, and it's barely cracked because I lost my graphic novel. But it kind of has a vibe like a cutesy, what was that? Where the Sidewalk Ends. That's what it makes me think of.
Lenore in Georgie Porgy.
Yeah.
Georgie Porgy, pudding and pie. Kiss the girls and make them cry. She just threw a knife into his head after he kissed her. When the boys come out to play, Georgie Porgy ran away. Ooh, yeah, Georgie be dead. That's some goth shit right there.
Okay, we're in a horror punk band. There's a reason, everybody.
Oh, wow. Lenore, the adventures of a cute little dead girl in Chinese food. This is adorable. I would love to read this.
Yeah, this is the days when Jonan Vasquez was still making comics, not Invader Zim.
And these are tiny little stories.
Yeah, they're little vignettes, little goth vignettes. It's
I'm pleased.
Definitely for the middle school crowd of fans of the 90s.
I was going to say this artwork is a mixture between that comic book Chew and Salad Fingers.
Remember that? Yeah, that was like a 2000s thing. I don't know. Salad Fingers was weird.
Well, that's what the art is reminding me of. Is that weird?
I agree. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Let's see. What else was I into early on here? Which ones? I didn't bring a whole lot of them here because a lot of them are at my parents' and or destroyed, as I said.
Right.
I can't go through memory lane without thinking about that. However, I have a massive stack from the same author, the same thing, which I have barked at Veronica about for a million years.
I was going to say, you have an awfully big pile of...
I have a big pile of books, but this whole pile on top here, and I only grabbed it so you could see the depth of this here, right? This is another one that other people look at me cross-eyed. They're like, I don't care when I talk to them about. But you're on the radio, and you're going to listen to me now about it.
Listen up, children.
Listen about it, man. Okay? Listen to it, man. So this is David Mack's Kabuki, a stack of it. Now, you're probably going, I don't care already. Okay. You don't care, but you should, because it's really a deep story. It is as I would say, the perfect graphic novel. This was never, it was written, originally, it started off, David Mack wrote this story kabuki when he was it was his college thesis thing when he was in college, right? Mm-hmm. If you know anything about
what a
David
cool
Mack,
thesis.
Yeah, he's David Mack has been blowing up in recent years. He does a lot of stuff. You guys can Google him. I'm not going to go and like do a laundry list of stuff that David Mack has done, but he is a fine artist as well as a comic book artist, and always has been. And his first offering was Circle of Blood, which was 90 something. I don't remember when. I need to look at it. I have them in opposite order. You can hear my books thumping back here, probably. I actually have 2 copies of this, and I like it so much. See, I have the numbered, like, signed things here with little pieces of paper and stamps. And David Mack has been a huge influence in my life. I got to meet him at C2E2 a few years ago. Finally, after, like, oh, gosh, I had been reading his books. I mean, since I had been following Kabuki since the 90s, and I had never got to meet him because I never got to go to, like, the big things again. Luxury things,
right?
You know,
C2E2 is a luxury thing at this point.
Yeah, it's very expensive, and you know, we would go to local comic shops and stuff growing up, but never like big conventions and things like that. And my friends in high school, you know, you don't have money when you're in high school and early
I never got to go do things like that.
Yeah, I didn't have that kind of money, so. Anyhow, I finally got to meet him. That was really cool. That actually, I don't know if I should tell that story. I always feel weird telling that story.
Why?
About meeting David Mack.
You should tell it.
I guess I'm on it, so I can tell it, and then I'll just talk about these books for hopefully not too long.
Okay.
But
I'm in it to win it, man.
Yeah. Well, you'll really like them when you get to them because I know you. But when I met him at C2E2, before then, this was I had only done this video, Darkness Within. I had done that's a Machine Head song. And that video like blew up unbeknownst to me. It was that like blew up to me. It like it did like
didn't it get like 25,000 likes?
It got
reviews in like a day or something.
Well, I was affiliated as a listener and in with a shout out to Ellis Fam, Jason Ellis show. Every once in a while we give the shout out here on I guess the Journey into Comics Network on certain shows, but I was they had little this band Death Die on Voice of Survival podcast. You can listen to Christian James Hand, his interview. He that was his whole thing. This band Death Die. You can listen to his interview. Please do. It's a very good one about his journey with the Jason Ellis show. He does comment upon that. But anyways, I had a song. I did one of the Death Die songs, and they played a few things on the radio, just piano solo covers. And I heard Machine Head's music for like...
And this was years ago.
This was like... Nate knows the dates. I don't know dates of anything. Time is like completely, especially since we started the band, like has just completely gone off the rails. I don't know what day of the week it is sometimes. I don't know what time of the day it is. We're getting... Anyway,
overwhelming sometimes.
I want to say this. I mean, this was at least 7 or 8 years ago. This was because I started listening to Jason Ellis in like 2009, but we didn't get around to doing any of that stuff until later. Maybe it was like 2012 or 2013. I don't know, somewhere in there. It was a while ago, but anyways,
You did the Machine Head video.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about David Mack. It's like I got off track here thinking about Jason Ellis.
And back to you.
The whole reason I did that Machine Head song was because they would play it on Faction, the radio, the Sirius XM station. They would play it on Faction all the time. They'd play Machine Head's music, and I started kind of getting into it. And I heard this song Darkness Within, and it like struck me one day, like I heard it like do this thing. Back then, it used to take me months to do arrangements. Like I can kind of do them almost in a day now. Like,
right. And what you mean by arrangements is taking a song and then arranging it and transcripting it for piano.
Yeah. So it took me a long time back then. So I was really proud of it when it was finally done. And I got one good take of this song. Nate recorded it with this horrible cell phone we had. It wasn't a smartphone. It was like some,
like you said,
knockoff,
this was years ago.
Like it was like right before people started having smartphones.
It's probably like a Nokia.
I don't remember even what it was, but it was a crappy phone. And we threw it up on the internet and sent it over to Jason Ellis and sent it to a few of our friends and just was like, hey, you know, check this out. I still felt like it wasn't finished yet when we threw it up there. That's why I was like embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh. But Jason Ellis got a hold of it and was like, oh, we're going to tweet this. And he got it out there. And then he's friends with Rob Flynn. And Rob Flynn got a hold of it and he tweeted it 2 times in a day. And it got like something like 12,000 views overnight or something. Damn. Which if you've never been on the internet before, like that's scary. It was horrifying. And like I've said, I've talked about this occasionally, that story I've told people, but I did for the first time ever break out in hives that day. It was horrible. I didn't know what was happening to me. I had I'm getting anxiety.
You're super introverted.
Oh my God. Like I've done all these things with the band. Now I'm getting anxiety. I'm getting anxiety thinking about this story. Anyways, so that video got out there and that was what I was living on when I met David Mack for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I guess it had been like 15 years or something. I had been waiting to like meet him. I'd never gotten to. But I had been reading his books or something like that. I don't know. It was a long time. Mm-hmm. And Nate, being Nate, sent over like, why don't you? I'm just going to tweet Sarah's video to David Mack.
Yeah, social butterfly.
Yeah, I was terrified by the idea of this networking thing. You know, using social media was all like powerful. It was scary.
Yeah.
You know, when it first started coming on the scene, I didn't really get Twitter. It was like I started a Twitter account back then. Like the first time, I still don't really get it. It's not my thing.
Me either.
But he decided he was going to tweet Dave Mack my video, and we got a tweet back, and David Mack said, oh, your video's awesome. I'm getting ready for the convention, and I'm painting to your video right now.
Wow.
I'm listening to your song, and I'm making a painting.
That's so cool.
And I was, like, swooning inside. I was, like, dying, you know.
I bet.
Because we were going later on, and I knew he was like, I'll see you at the convention later or whatever. And I was like, huh, you know. And sort of fangirl moment for a second. Yeah. But, you know, we went to go meet him, and he's not, like, popular with anybody else, really. I mean, at least back then, I don't know. He's gotten more popular. He's blown up and done some things now. But I was just such a fan of his art and his work, and it had meant a lot to me over the years. It had been one of those, you know, like you guys out there in Journey into Comics Land, you know what the comics mean to you. That's why you're listening to this. Right. That's why you're out there. You all have these books that you're attached to, maybe superheroes, maybe, you know, whatever. Maybe you like any number of things. I mean, the comic book world is so diverse and so varied in just subject matter and stories and storytelling. So it could be any strange thing that's out there that you could be connected to. But this was my thing, you know. This was my guy that I was connected to at the time, and I.
That's cool. So cool that you got to have a good experience meeting him. And
I did. He waved me over.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I was.
Did you get to see the work that he was painting while he was listening to your music?
No, because he was sketching in his book. He was painting and sketching in his book. So it was something he had like a lot of, you know, he was preparing a lot of things that day, for sale, as a lot of those vendors do, artists and things. So I get up to Artist Alley and I'm like, he was just kind of off in one of the back alleys, you know, there's always the spooky back alley artists, you know, that are just like, ooh, okay,
the edgy guys in the back.
Yeah, something interesting back here, you know, you get all of the, whatever, you guys know how it is if you've been to these conventions. Anyway, so I was like 10 feet away. I was like or farther away, and he waved me over and said, like, "Oh my, hey Sarah, come on over." Like, whatever, and like remembered my video and started talking to me about piano. And he actually started talking to me interestingly about Amanda Palmer, because he had just had he's like, you probably listen to Amanda Palmer, don't you? And I was like, well, yes, I do. I hadn't for a while. I was into the Dresden Dolls for a hot minute. But yeah, so he was talking to me about that a little bit. That's it's funny. But he let me thumb through original work, which was somebody, you know, if there's any artists out there listening, you know how that is. You get a connection to certain work, and if you're allowed to be near it, it's like, sometimes, I mean, if you're actually connected to something, it's an overwhelming experience sometimes.
Yeah. But like when we went and saw the Van Gogh exhibit, that was super moving.
Oh yeah, that was wonderful. There was the museum in Chicago, the Art Institute.
Yeah,
in
the
Chicago.
Art Institute.
Yeah, they had a special Van Gogh exhibit that you could walk through. They had the whole bedroom that was recreated.
Yeah, that was so neat. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah. But anyways, so I got to thumb through a bunch of his work. He was very kind. He's unbelievably humble. Like he's one of those people, like, you know how you say people have an aura?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, or whatever you guys call it out there. Yeah, some people just have that thing about them that
they're like vibrating at the same frequency as you.
Right. It's just one of those things. Like this man had that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So what is Kabuki about? Like what is the actual plot?
It is Kabuki
Sell it to me.
How do I sell you Kabuki? Kabuki, I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
Because it's kind of hard.
I do intend to read it.
But the basic plot, which is going to sound pretty dry for what it is, because I'm going to let you, I'll show you like the art in a second, but she's like an operative in Tokyo, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like this secret operative, and she's got a mask, and she's given a face, and it's the story of her getting out of this organization and all of the things that involves, and it's also the story of the loss of her mother and how she's coping with that.
Interesting.
But what's wonderful and also heartbreaking is that it was David Mack's dealing with his own grief about losing his own mother. Mm-hmm. And it's all written into this story. Wow. And he starts it off, this college thesis. So, you know, any of you that have gone to college, you know, it's like a very interesting age to write from. And if you're writing making a piece of art, it's especially interesting. You can be a very seminal time for a lot of people. But he sets, the first book is not like his other books, Circle of Blood. He intended these to be graphic novels. They were released as single issues. I forget the initial printing, whoever made them first. The Image does these ones here. But anyhow, the first one is not like the other ones. It's your classic comic book look.
Okay.
You know, it's all black and white. The whole thing is black and white.
The art is really interesting already.
What is interesting about the way David Mack writes that I thought was so cool is you have to read into his panels, and there's more later. But these things, like here's a good example here, and reader, you know, you guys are listening, so you can't see this, but you can go and look up his work. But you see one thing becomes the next, and I don't want to spoil any panels or anything, but it all morphs in such a beautiful way, and all of his words, he writes and works with such intent. It's all his work.
Nice.
He doesn't have a team. But basically,
I can really appreciate that. Without
spoiling anything, the next books, it's hard for me to talk about without spoiling, but is her journey between like a life and death phase. Ooh. And it's abstract. This is all painted.
Wow.
And he wrote, this was years ago, he wrote for Sara. I had him send that to me a million years ago. But everything he does is mixed media, and it's all, you can see.
Cool.
This is, you read into the story. This is all the panels that you have to read. It's not background.
How cool.
And sometimes I'm trying to find an example of like the spirals. Look how it's beautiful colors. All of it's hand painted.
The panels look like a triptych almost.
Yeah, and you see how some of the borders will have like lace and things like that? That's actually lace. It's all of the things, and sometimes it's maybe this one, sometimes he simulates it, sometimes he writes. I know all of these little triangles. His artistic inspiration came from this book I'm going to talk about here.
Okay.
But I'll show you in a minute. I should bookmark that page. But anyhow, sometimes he'll have these like spirals, like you have to spiral the book around just to read the text and the text. But all of the text has intent with here's an example. These are actual photographs that I believe his now wife might have posed for some of these, or a girlfriend or something he had at the time. But everything. So these are all. I know that this is all mixed media because I touched it. He let me thumb through.
How big were these pieces?
These were like, some of them were 11 by 14. It was in a big portfolio like that, hundreds of them. And he let me sit there for probably about an hour and thumb through thousands and thousands of dollars worth of work. Panels that I had seen for, 10 years. I got to like touch the panels.
That's
just
so cool.
Look at them. He was comfortable enough. as an artist.
Cons are so cool. That's the reason that people want to go to them.
Yeah, and that's why I keep saying artist, because he understood why I was there, because I needed to touch this work, you know, and that's what you need to do if you're an artist. If you're inspired by things, you do need to go out and find them. If you're inspired by a band or a musician or something, you need to go out and experience that, you know. If you are inspired by art or by movies or by plays or whatever, you need to go out and do those things.
Right.
It's important. That's why they make you have recital credits if you're in music school. they make you go to recitals. Otherwise, it's like a pass or fail.
Wow.
You have to go to so many recitals, and you have to sometimes write about them. And
I remember when I was performing in a recital at Columbia, there were students there that had to go for college credit, and they had to sit through it.
Yeah. Anyways,
poor guys.
I won't go on and on about this. I could talk a long time clearly about this subject here.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it. I have not read any of the Kabuki series.
This is where he gets crazy. Metamorphosis is about exactly what the title imagines, and you can just see. You just flip through any page, and every single panel is just unbelievable intent. All of this you have to read through it, and
wow, cool.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you can see why I like it.
Yeah, I can see why you like it.
Looking through
definitely
all of this.
A very Sara pick.
But the story is the hero's journey for any. I would recommend this, especially. I mean, not just because the protagonist is a female, but to any female comic book readers out there, it is a very empowering story. Especially young female artists that are out there in the world. It is, especially when you get to the alchemy, it is his like manifesto. It's I can't even talk about it. It's like deep.
Wow.
It's just the psychological journey that you go on with this character, and she finds all of her other operatives, and they talk about it's like trauma. They talk about their trauma.
Wow, so this series is like a whole journey of this woman's life.
It's basically therapy, you guys.
Interesting, yeah.
It's basically therapy. So, all right, that's all I'll say about it.
I'm excited to check it out. I really am. The art is beautiful.
My next one, I just have a handful more here, and then we can talk about something else.
Sure.
This next one is probably a lead-in for what we're going to talk about after this, or in a little bit.
Ooh, yeah.
But I want to bring it out now because this is Batman Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious Earth. It is a strange Batman story.
I haven't read this one.
Weirdest. It's an older story. It's been, I forget. I'm going to look here.
It's funny you had a Batman book too, and I was talking about my stupid Batman book.
Yeah. This one is it's from 1989, right?
Sweet.
My graphic novel is not. I do not have an original one, but
I'm gonna see it.
David Mack I could tell he got a little bit of his inspiration from the artwork in this book. The artwork is wonderful and creepy, and
wow,
it is a psychological Batman story.
Some creepy shit.
It's the Joker makes Batman do all of these trials. It's set in Arkham Asylum, and it's
super creepy.
It is
holy shit.
Fabulous artwork in this book. The story is very strange. A lot of people say it's like one of their favorite Batman stories.
Oh, I can't wait to read it. Just from the Joker's hair alone, it's this crazy green, like watercolor looking mohawk, like David Lynch-esque Devilock floating in the air.
Yeah,
wild.
This was one of my favorite ones for a long time, for obvious reasons.
Hey, listen to this. I just turned to a page that said, "Let the Feast of Fools begin." And this is April Fool's Week here at JIC.
Ooh, hey. I didn't even mean for that to happen.
Maybe that could be the episode title, Feast of Fools.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like it. So why did you pick this one exactly?
Well, mainly because, again,
Is it about the art or the story or both?
It's both, because it's just such a strange abstract take on Batman. It's and the artwork. You know, I'm super into the way that a story and the artwork play together. I don't like it. This is my gripe with a lot of superhero comics. Let me grind my gears.
Gears.
Let me grind my gears here.
What grinds your gears, Sarah?
Okay, this is what it is. It's that they don't. and I'm going to use this word again, they don't a lot of times work with intent. Okay. So, and maybe that's just because of the nature of the way comics are created, especially these days. You know, it's like
maybe they're just under aggressive time schedules or something.
Yeah, well, I understand the time thing, and it's like a team, and it's a lot of, you know, you do this, you do this, you do this. There's just so many. It's fractioned to so many different people. I don't know. Sometimes it's not cohesive for me. It's not enough for me that it's just, here's a story about a character and here's what that character looks like according to this artist or that artist. To me, I want a story and the art to be married together, like with an actual intent of like
Purpose.
You know, this guy colored it and this guy, you know, I understand it. A lot of it's been like that, you know.
Yeah, you have the inker, the writer.
I understand all of that, you know. But
that's why you like David Mack, is because he did it by himself.
Well, yes, I do like that. But there's other ones that I just, you know, I guess it's really subjective, you know, what you think goes well with it. But I just find that in superhero comics, there's a lot of stock looking characters, you know. Like if you can get one of those how to draw superhero books in 30 days or whatever, and you can draw.
You'll have your Superman, Captain America. You'll have your Aquaman, or whatever.
Yeah.
You'll have your busty lady.
Yeah, and it just all traces back to what's classic, you know. There's just all these different styles, but I like stuff that just is strange. It's different. I don't know, whatever.
Well, this Batman book looks super different. I'm excited to take a look at it.
It's a weird one. Some people don't like it. It's definitely an acquired taste. Who knew? Here's one that's another one that's an acquired taste. A lot of people hated this one, Spider-Man Blue. I liked this one more for the art than I did for the story. I will tell you that. But here's why you're gonna like it. That's the only reason I grabbed it, because I want to show you the covers. Like this one's not as good.
Covers on there.
No, the style of this book is like, okay, there's like the cover for number 2. This is a Gwen Stacy story.
That's cool.
This is why I bought these. I used to have the single issues. They're gone in a flood.
Yeah, the art is really interesting.
There's another one. Here's chapter 3's
It's like
cover.
Like Bond villains with naked ladies. But not naked. Yeah, I dig it.
It's got that
It's got that 60s swinger vibe to it.
Correct. Yeah. And it's kind of got that whole
Ooh,
theme.
You know what? That looks like an Archie comic, and I'm okay with that.
Yes, that's what I thought you would appreciate about it.
You know I loved motherfucking Archie comics because they had Veronica in there.
Yeah, this was an interesting offshoot thing. They had Hulk Gray. I didn't read that one. They had Daredevil. Yellow. They did this whole series of things, you know, how they just take different spins.
To make it more like a pop art thing. Yeah. Like all of them were in that art style.
Yeah, they all had different, they kind of used color, quote unquote, as the inspiration.
But
so
that's what it was about.
Like
it wasn't about the story. It was about the art.
Yeah, I mean, the story's okay. It's your standard story. I mean, it's like Gwen Stacy, a thing you can, I don't want to read the back of it. You can go online. That's what Google's for.
That's what Google's for.
I don't remember. I guess I don't really remember being so overtly interested in it that I went back for like reads 3, 4, and 5. You know, like I maybe reread it once and then I was okay with it. I'd thumb through it, and the art was more. I was more into the style of it. It was just a style thing, but
I was always really into the stories. I really liked. I know this is silly, but I really liked Archie comics, and I loved that whole series when I was little, like the Cheryl Blossom series and all of the stupid Riverdale ones. Like I was really into that. I loved it. But I want to talk about. You were talking about how this Batman comic book segues into the other thing we were going to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Did you have any more comics to go over? I can't see over this pile.
This is actually the last thing in the pile.
Good.
These are just my favorite Wolverine stories.
Hey.
Wolverine Origin. I loved Origin. Did you ever read Origin?
Yeah, a long time ago. I didn't have it. An ex-boyfriend had that, you know.
This was also an ex-boyfriend thing for me too.
Interesting.
But, I loved it. I really thought that was a visceral good story. Same with this one, the classic Weapon X. That's one of my. I absolutely love the panels and the color saturation in this book. It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Just on the flip through, aside from the story being the classic
God,
Weapon
Wolverine
X
looks
story.
like Danzig.
Oh, I know. Oh, look at this. Where did that panel go? Oh, there it is.
Danzig.
Right. And it's just something about this book I was always very connected to. Like I felt like I wanted to touch it. Like it's just the texture, and it's got that inky thing going on. The color just vibrant. Pops in such a way that, I mean, look at that. Look at all those bodies.
It's very busy.
Look at that, man. So that's one of my favorites. I mean, for obvious reasons. If you've never read Weapon X, just do it. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Read it.
What are you doing? Okay, that's my. I didn't intend to talk about all of the things with David Mack, but I guess I did.
Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be, man. That's what it was supposed to be about.
I didn't. Anyhow, so let's go on. You said we had this Arkham Asylum thing that tails into what we were going to talk about.
Yeah, we need to finally have the discussion about motherfucking Gotham.
Man, if you guys are not watching Gotham, what are you doing?
What are you doing with your life?
What have you done with the last few years? Why
not
are you
watched
here?
Gotham.
You better have been listening to this radio station.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, so Gotham has been one of our favorite shows. Sarah, you had been talking about how I needed to watch Gotham for a long time. You were really all about this show. Nate got on board, and then I finally got on board, and it's been full steam ahead ever since.
Yeah, this show, a lot of people complain that the first few episodes are slow.
And they were.
But do you know what happens when you build a character slowly? What happens, MCU, when you build a character over all these years? You get depth, okay? Yeah. And you know what Gotham is about? It's exactly what the title says. It is about Gotham. It is not about Batman. It is not about the villains.
It's a true ensemble.
Ensemble. Yes, it is. It is about the muck of that city. Yeah. And all of the different power plays that happen that make your favorite characters who they are. And let me tell you, since they are canceling this series, they have just pulled out all the stops.
This is the best. The last few episodes have been so great.
Yeah, it started off a little like, and now we're doing this, now like I could tell they were being a little pushy because the pacing of this show.
They had a lot of shit to get through because this is the last season.
They sure did, and I bet they had several seasons worth of stuff they're trying to cram in here because they've been playing the long game, and it's
every season has been like perfect episodes of fan service, you know, where they give you exactly what you want without you even realizing it's what you want. And it's every single time consistently, even the slower episodes, when there are some slower episodes, I'm still invested. I'm still completely watching it, you know, tuned into it. Yeah. And it's a great show.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they don't Dexter it at the end.
I will fucking riot.
Yeah.
I will riot.
Oh,
no,
man.
But Gotham has been perfect in that it has been setting up, like you said, this has been the long game. Nate compared it to like watching live chess between heroes and villains, and villains and villains, and heroes.
Like, think about where Little Penguin was when in the first season. And
Pax Penguina.
Even before then. Like, think of the first episodes with Fish Mooney when he was just a little yes man.
Her little bitch boy with the umbrella.
Yeah. And, like, it's the way they have built... Oh, you guys, the Joker.
Oh, the Joker. Yeah. Honestly, though, the Joker, but Penguin and the Riddler, like, they have the best relationship in the whole series.
It is beautiful. Kiss, kiss. That's
kiss,
all I gotta say.
Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Kiss, kiss. Man, it's good.
It's a great series, guys.
I have to say what I've been telling you guys since we've caught up on Gotham, which I have to do again because I might have dozed off a little bit last night. I was very tired. I'm the old one, as we are going to learn, I guess.
As Liz established.
Yeah, when we play, because we haven't done it yet.
Right.
Time
travel, you did it.
There's going to be some Golden Girls stuff.
On Foodies Watching Movies.
Yeah, and I'm like the old lady, okay, whatever. Anyways, I need to say...
We don't have to talk about that right now.
No. But this, for anybody watching, this will make more sense. But for anybody not watching, maybe this will motivate you to do... The Joker character, they didn't even start to build until like season 3, maybe.
In season 5, right?
Yeah, something like that.
We're deep into the back end of season 5.
You see it coming and then you don't, and then you see it coming and then you don't. But what they have built him into in this season, this Joker.
Ooh.
If you guys are gamers and you played the game BioShock, if you remember Sander Cohen, the artist who did, he made all the plaster sculptures and he was very theatrical. You had to go through it. And all the sculptures were splicers. Splicers are the enemies in the game. And the statues would bleed if you hit them. Like they were all made out of plaster. It was one of the creepiest parts in the game. And yes, he shoots a pianist on stage. Damn. That's made out of. Oh man, it's good. It's all in Sander Cohen. This is like a Sander Cohen version of the Joker. I don't know how else to explain it. He's like theatrical, but also like just straight up evil. I mean, just dark.
Like eloquent,
so dark,
evil.
Like
insane.
The storyline that they just had that I can't say nothing about because I don't want to spoil anything. I'm trying to make it spoiler free, you know.
Right.
Man, it was just dark what they did to little Brucey, who's not so little anymore.
Damn, they're setting it. They're just knocking it out of the park. They're setting him up and knocking him out of the park. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we are prepping for baby Batman, and I'm so pleased. It's been a long time coming. It's finally. Gotham. It's like every time we watch Gotham, I say, Gotham!
Yeah.
At least 5 times throughout the episode of Gotham. Gotham!
I know. Usually when those opening credits.
Gotham!
Yeah.
It's nonstop, man. They don't give you time to rest. They just keep it going.
Yeah.
And I love them for it.
And I'm
going to miss it.
Don't like it. I really want to know why.
Yeah.
Why don't you like it?
If there are any haters of Gotham out there, let us know on social media like Facebook and tell us why, because we like to know
unless
why
you
you're
just
wrong.
Think it's slow. Then you don't get to tell us because we already know that.
Yeah, we already know. Sometimes it's a little slow.
But if it's for any reason, then you think that it's slow and boring, please. I would really love to know why you don't like this show.
I mean, I could think of a couple of things just with annoying characters, like the Tenacious Lee. Lee.
Okay.
Lee bugs. She fucking bugs.
Yeah.
She's bugged for a long time, but I'm still on board.
Their hair is wonderful. Whoever does their hair.
Barbara Keene's hair is for a while. The bigger it got, the crazier she got.
Yeah, you could tell what kind of Barbara Keene we were gonna get based on what her hair was doing that episode.
And little Brucey's hair is getting super
like an anime.
Emo.
Yeah,
he looks like he could. You know what? He could probably. Oh, I'm gonna get some hate for this, but he might be a good Spike Spiegel, Cowboy Bebop. I'm seeing that hair. I'm seeing it get bigger.
Okay,
I see you, kid. Actor
right.
from Gotham.
Yeah.
There's one other thing that we should probably mention. I think we've mentioned it before, maybe on GallifRadio or Foodies, but I think it's pertinent to mention that you and I both agree that the man who plays Alfred should definitely be cast as the next Doctor Who.
Every time since Gotham has aired, the very first episode, I have said Sean Pertwee, because his daddy played the third Doctor. John Pertwee played the third Doctor.
One of our favorite classic Who doctors.
He's the best.
And I mean, just the idea of seeing Sean Pertwee as the Doctor,
come on.
It makes sense because his father was a doctor. They look so similar. It's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
And he's got those sweet Bond old school moves.
Yeah.
He's got the karate. He's got the I can hold a guy at gunpoint thing. He's got the classy. Age Silver Fox butler.
Correct.
He can buttle you.
Yeah, he could appear young or old.
Yeah, he's
Sean
perfect.
Pertwee.
Don't ever change, dude. You're perfect.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, let's try to get somebody to start a
pick.
petition to get him to be the next Doctor Who. You hear me, BBC?
They don't.
Yeah, I know. That's why I feel like I can call him out and say it. But anyway, so yeah, Gotham is the shit. If you're not watching it, you should. It's in its final season. What is it, on Fox?
Yeah, unfortunately.
We watch it on Hulu,
Yeah, but it's definitely Fox, which is probably why it got canceled, because Fox cancels all the good shows.
For real, man. It's I don't know if it's a ratings issue. I don't know. They're wrapping up the story really great. I love the character development. It's been, like you said, the slowest burn.
Right.
And that had to be that way for it to be this great.
Right, because if they would have been doing all these action scenes and all the stuff they're doing this season without that slow burn ahead of time, where they're, because it's like,
where it's all just payoff.
Yeah. You get all the payoff this season for all these years of waiting.
We've waited so long.
Yeah,
and now it's really happening, guys. Go watch Gotham. It's the best.
Yeah. I don't have any more show recommendations other than that for superhero stuff, do I?
Well, we got really far behind. Like, we were watching The Flash pretty consistently for like every season, but we have not seen this current season of The Flash, which we'll remedy at some point. That could be a summer project for all I care.
We got burnt out on the CW cheese.
Yeah, the CW cheese is real, man. Like, the music, the sappiness.
Music bums me out.
Oh, the music was a huge problem with those CW shows.
Right.
Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. Those were all shows that we liked at the very beginning, but after a couple of seasons, it just got too predictable and too...
Got a little Dawson's Creek.
Too soapy, too teeny bopper, like too...
But, I mean, I know that's the nature of the shows. Like, there was good... The like sci-fi stuff that's in there is good.
Yeah.
The actual
stories are solid.
Of that.
The acting is surprisingly solid. I mean, I love all of the characters.
Yeah, it's just like we said, the cheese, the filter they put on
it's the CW. If these shows were on Hulu or Netflix or really anything other than the fucking CW, they would be like up there with Gotham.
Daredevil show, man.
They'd be up there with
Remember
Gotham.
That Daredevil show? Man,
Daredevil.
That was a good one. That was visceral.
And Jessica Jones, the Netflix Defenders show.
Oh man, that was a good one.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, but I feel like we're coming to an end in a cycle. You know what I'm saying? Now Disney owns everything. Everything's about to change.
We'll see.
I mean, the cinematic landscape for next year, it's going to be like unpredictable. I have no idea what's going to happen now that everything's changed. But we've had a good run. We've had some good shows. Gotham, you've done us well. We love you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I think we can say on that.
Yeah, I think we had a pretty good run. I feel like I said everything I wanted to say today.
Yeah, I didn't, since we segued into Gotham, I didn't ask you if you had any nostalgic comics you would like to talk about. I guess that you didn't prepare. I mean, I had the advantage of being at my house.
Yeah,
here.
we're on home. You're on your home turf
here.
here. Yeah, I've got a visitor status handicap here. No, I didn't bring anything. I didn't plan ahead. I'm a dipshit. I did tell you that I had that Batman graphic novel compilation book. That was pretty rad. I'm going to bring that over sometime and show you. It's pretty funny. The comic books that I had were mostly like I said, I was really into the Archie and Veronica books and the Betty and Veronica books and the Cheryl Blossom books. I loved all that shit. And as I got older, I started getting into X-Men a lot. Like in the 90s, I was really into X-Men. I liked House of M. I was really into the Dark Phoenix, like I said.
The X-Men
I loved the cartoon. Like, yeah. Yeah, it was great. And like the accompanying video game at the arcade, with the X-Men. That's over at Twincade still. They have one at Twincade. Yeah, so I was into like your basic standard shit, and I got really into music and focused more on that, and then less on comic books. And then when I got older, I started dating a bunch of fucking nerds that loved comic books, and I fell back in love with that shit, and that's all they talked about, so that's all I was, wrapped up in, because I was just with my boyfriend. So I was really into, like, my favorite was, like, Civil War. I wanted it to become, like, not what it became, but something different. I wanted it to be, like, it would be so cool if they would remake the Marvel Cinematic Universe starting now. And then
we're gonna say that in 10 years and in 10 years.
I know, right?
And in 10 years.
You're right. Yeah, but I just mean, because if the X-Men could be in the Marvel Universe now because of this whole deal,
I know.
The comic book was so much better with the X-Men in it.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Because the X-Men are the shit.
Yeah. The X-Men are... You're right. Yeah. Like, in high school, everybody in our little clique of friends would always be like, so what X-Men are you going to be? Yeah. And I always ended up, being Jean Grey. My boyfriend at the time was always Cyclops because they called him Cyclops because he had very large blue eyes, like beautiful blue eyes, but everybody made fun of him, you know. So they called him Cyclops, and he was super fucking pissed. He's like, I fucking hate Cyclops. He's such a bitch.
Did he get like a salty Nolans accent?
No, that's Gambit.
Oh, that's Gambit.
That's Gambit.
I was thinking about Gambit.
We had a Gambit in our little group, and
did you?
Yeah,
I don't. Mm-hmm. You said Cyclops, and then I thought Gambit.
Yeah.
Not. Never mind. Anyhow, I was thinking about it's because you made me start thinking about high school, and I started having this memory like because I dressed real dumb in high school. Like we all did.
I had chains on my pants.
It wasn't like the whole like goth punk thing became like uncool cool.
At a point,
At a certain point.
When the Hot Topic thing exploded.
Missed that. All right. Mm-hmm. I missed that because it was not cool. Mm-hmm. But I had I remember time
we were part of the thrift store punk scene.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could go down that road. I won't go too hard down that road. But I used to. I never had now. Most of you guys who are out there, you know me as having long hair. I never had long hair until recently. I cut my hair off when I was in 5th grade into a bob, and then I let it grow maybe to my shoulders in 6th grade, and I cut it off into a pixie, and then I never looked back till now.
Yeah, when I met you, you had a pixie cut.
Yeah, I always had pixie cuts, and I had this pixie cut that I had dyed purple, some shade of vibrant purple, and we were at this wedding. And my friend, it was an outside wedding. My friend had this bright, actually the color of this makeup bag, this plastic bright yellow, sunny yellow trench coat, raincoat.
Yeah.
And he walked up behind me, and he's like, "You need to wear this right now." And he made me put this trench coat on, and then everybody was staring there "You look exactly
Coraline.
You look exactly like Jubilee."
Oh shit, Jubilee. Yeah.
And that was the whole thing that particular time when we were out, because I had this stupid yellow raincoat and made me wear it the whole time. Yeah, and I was Jubilee for that wedding that day.
That's cool.
Because I would wear the same boots. I've had the same pair of boots since 1999. I bought them. Yeah, my Doc Marten steel-toed black boots I've had since forever, and I wore them with everything, including wedding dresses that I would wear.
I bet, yeah.
You guys, I was the one wearing fishnets to a wedding, so there we go. Whatever. I don't do that anymore. In recovery now.
Right. You just wear them on stage.
I'm just in the band now. Okay, we're just here for the music.
Right.
Oh, not that I don't. Whatever. But yeah, I just remember that particularly. That particular friend's favorite character was Gambit. That's what led me to saying Gambit.
Yeah.
I'll tail that back around.
I remember. Yeah, I wanted to be Jean Grey, but. And because my boyfriend was Cyclops, it kind of just worked out that way.
Okay.
Because all the couples and shit.
Yeah.
High school shit, man.
Yeah.
But one of my friends kept fucking with me and kept saying, "No, you'd be Dazzler."
Dazzler.
No, you'd be Dazzler. I'm like, oh, that's fucking lame. No, Dazzler's a singer. You're a singer. You'd be Dazzler. Fuck you. I get so mad about being Dazzler.
It is a really dumb name.
Well, yeah. But Dazzler wasn't too bad. Come on.
You're the one knocking it.
Yeah, Dazzler was a terrible character.
I hate that.
I don't want to be Dazzler. I want to be Phoenix. I want to be Emma Frost.
Guy.
I want to be Emma Frost. She's made of diamonds. Yeah, the X-Men were the shit. Anyway. Yeah. That was a fun trip down memory lane.
Yeah,
I liked that. I enjoyed it. Well,
good.
Folks, this is going to wrap it up
where we're going to awkwardly end.
Yeah, we're going to end this episode 237 of Journey into Comics. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying our April Fool's Week over here at the network. And I don't know. I don't really know. What does Nate say?
He does all those plugs that we don't know those.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to do the plugs, but I'm going to say that you can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that other shit. You can hear me and Sara on Foodies Watching Movies and GallifRadio. And, well, I guess that's it. Fill your brains with shit. That's what he says.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
You've been...
Oh, yeah, I'm Veronica.
Yeah, and I'm Sara.
And fill your brains with shit.
Laters.